Okay, so on the previous session, whatever we have discussed, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. We have discussed about the action classes and just see that how we can handle different type of events which we perform using mouse and keyboard. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Payal, Ranjita, Shruti, is it okay? Or we can go ahead?
We can go ahead.
Okay, sure. So today we are going to cover a very, very important topic. I will tell you the first of all the problem statement, then I will come to the solution. Okay. So in this case, let me show you one page. I have a page that is developed by me. This is a header page. Okay. Now we'll see one thing here. When I click on this particular link FAQ, you will see what will happen. And you will tell me what actions or what impact you are able to see on the application. When I click on it, what is happening? Anybody?
It's open in new tab.
Exactly. Excellent. So what is happening? Let me show you again what happens that when I'm clicking on this particular link and it is opening a new page in a new tab. Now you will see I have to perform a automation. And what is the steps of the automation? You will launch this website and then you click on this link and then you have to write some question in this particular text field. Now we are going to perform this thing in the automation and let's see how it proceeds. So where is our batch? That is 18th batch Selenium. Okay, let me create a fresh class, new class, and I'm saying window handling data. Okay, now let me create the main function. Okay. So again, we will do one thing. We will just copy the base code, whatever we have learned already. So let me copy this part. So here we have written a code to open a Chrome browser. Then we are giving the path of the application. So in our case, path will be this one. Let me copy it and paste it here. So it will open header.html. Now we have to click on FAQ link. So anybody can tell me how we can write? We will go here, driver dot find element by dot. I told you that the best way is that you can use any type of options, but every time you just go with the
XPath.
Yes, if you will go with the XPath, because XPath is a combination of all other attributes. So here we are written XPath, and after that we are going to store in a variable that is called the return type of that element is web element. So we will say web element and we'll give a variable or reference name FAQLINK link. Okay, now we have written, only we have to write the XPath here. So we'll go to the application and right click, inspect. So here you will see, I have already told you about the XPath, that how you can write the XPath. So here, anybody can tell me, try to write XPath with me, // tell me, what is the tag name? A square bracket. Yes. At the very good. You guys are awesome. At the rate, we have
attribute type is equal to attribute value.
Yes. So in our case, this time, what attribute you are able to see? href. I told you, whatever is coming in the pair, that is called attributes. href is attribute, and in the single quote, I will write its value. What is its value? FAQ dot. Say with me, FAQ dot st. Now it is highlighting the element, yes or no? So now you will go here and put it here. So you have created the XPath. Now what you have to do? You have to call a function FAQ dot click. So it will click on that. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now manually we are going to perform same thing manually. launch the browser, enter the URL, then click on FAQ. In case of FAQ, it open a new page. Just forget about that it has opened a new page. We are trying to automate in our usual way. So we have to write something on the text field. Let inspect it. Inspect. In this case, we have to write XPath for this. So before that, let me do one thing. Let me copy this common code that we have to write a driver dot. We can copy here, copy, and here we can give the reference variable name QUES, question field. And here we have to write the XPath for the question field. Right? Yes. So now we will go here and try to create the XPath. So our XPath will be Control F / input is there. So we can use input. Square bracket, we can use @ID equal to. So any attribute which is applicable, you can write it QUES. So it is showing 1 of 1. Let's copy it and go to the code and just paste it here. Now you will see it is, you have find the locator for this. Now try to write something on this field. How you can write? Dot send keys, right?
Yes.
With the help of send keys, we can write any text in any text field. So here we will try to write, for example, what is defect? Suppose we want to ask a question, what is defect? So we have to write this thing in the text field. Okay, so now let me run this automation and see it is running fine or it is giving any problem. Let me run it. Now it is running and it has, you will see it opened the header.html, click on the FAQ link, but it has not written anything on the question field. Are you able to see that it has written? No. It means the step of launching the browser was passed. Clicking the FAQ link was working fine, but when it was trying to write or enter something in the question text field, it fails. How we can see it is failed? You can go and check in the console also that what is the error. This time you will see it is giving the error. This is that XPath is not correct, or you can say no such element.
No such element unable to.
It means it is saying that no such element. Now you have to make a doubt that whether you have written a right locator or not. You can go and double check. Again, you will go and check. Oh, I have written this XPath, but it is right. We are able to see. That's why it is highlighting yes or no. It means we cannot make a doubt on our XPath. So it means reason can be something different. So now we have to see, and I will tell you the reason. You will see here I have written the code to click on the FAQ link, and after that I have written a code to enter something on the text field. Now what is the problem here? I will tell you. Whenever you launch a browser, it creates a reference driver, right? It launch a Chrome browser and it creates a reference driver. So driver is actually what is doing? Driver is by default a reference which is pointing to your launched browser. Yes or no? Driver is a reference variable which is actually referring or pointing to the launched browser. So what happens? Whatever activity you are performing, driver.get, driver.find element, every activity you are entering some URL with the help of driver.get, or you are trying to find some element, driver.find element, every activity is actually performed on the launched browser, or you can say launched tab. Getting my point? And what happens? What happens whenever you are clicking on this particular FAQ link, it is actually opening a new tab. It is opening a new tab. But your driver is actually by default pointing to the original first tab. Getting my point? Your control and driver is actually still pointing to the first tab. So whatever it is doing after clicking, if you are writing this code or this code is running, actually your code is trying to find this XPath on the first tab. On the first tab. It is not trying to find on the new tab because your control, your focus by default is still available on the first tab. Are you getting my point?
But we gave him like to click, right? Once we click.
Yes.
So it is okay. Yeah. I understood. Yeah.
When you click on it, that because it was able to click, because till the time of clicking your control was on the original tab or browse, right?
Yes.
After
Yes.
click, when it clicked on, a click is performed, the result of the clicking, it opened a new tab. But I told you, driver is still pointing to the original. So what it is happening, it is just trying to find the element on the same page, like this one, header.html. And but the element is available on the new tab. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So that's why it is not able to find the element. And how can I prove it? Just see here. Now tell me one thing. After clicking on the FAQ link, if I can write a code, I can write a code to switch my driver to new tab. Rest below code will run. Yes or no? If I will write a
Yes.
code after this line, if anyhow I can write a code to switch my driver control to the new tab, what will happen? If the control will go to the new tab, automatically this will be available
Running.
and
Yes.
it will run. Got my point? Everybody's okay with me? Yes or no? That if I can write a code here, and if I'm writing a code to switch, this code should work fine now. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now the thing is that how you are going to write a code to switch to a new tab, or you can say new window. If you are switching to a new browser, same browser, or you are switching to a new tab, in both the cases, the code is same. Okay, so how you can do it? Just see, in the driver reference variable, there is a function that is called driver.switch to. Driver.switch to, and then you have to write dot. Then you have to write window. Driver.switch to window. So this is the function. What is the name of function? Driver.switch to window. And in the window, actually, you have to pass a parameter. Anybody can tell me what is the type of the parameter which you have to pass in window function? String.
String.
Now the question is that, what is this parameter? It is a string parameter, but what is this parameter? Because I'm saying that if you call this function, and here in this window function, you have to actually pass the ID. You have to pass the ID or name of the new tab. Getting my point? What you have to do? This function actually accept that on any window, if you want to switch your control, you have to give the ID of that window. But now the question is that how you will get the ID? Because in the interview, somebody asks you how you can switch to another window. First of all, you have to tell the line driver.switch to window. And in the window function, you have to pass the ID of that window. In our case, we have to pass the ID of the new tab. Yes or no?
Yes.
So now the thing is that switching to the new window is very, very easy. Reason is that if you have an ID, then you can pass it and it will work. But the challenge is that you have to write a logic to find this ID. Because if you got the ID, then you can easily pass it. So actually we have to focus on that, how you can get the ID. So you will see that, first of all, I will do one thing. I am just creating a reference variable, new, or you can say new tab, or you can say new window, whatever you want to give the name, new window, or you want to give a this name, that will be more good, second window. Are you getting my point? Second window.
Yes.
ID. I just created a reference variable, and my purpose is to create this variable so that I will write a logic. And using that logic, I will try to find the ID of the second window. And when I will got the ID, I will store in this variable, and then we will pass this variable to this function, and our work will be done. Yes or no? Using our logic, I will try to find out the ID of the second window, that I will store in the second window ID reference variable, and then we will do
Pass
what
it
we
to
will do,
second window ID.
and it will work. Now the thing is that it means again same thing. We have to write a logic to find the ID of second window. So how we'll do it? Just see here. First of all, what happens whenever you open a browser? After that, you should do one thing. And what is that? you have a function in driver that is called driver dot get window handle. What is the return type of this function? String. So what this function do? Actually, what happens that whenever you call this function, at the time of calling this function, at the time, again focus, at the time of calling this function, it returns the ID of the current focused window or tab. So now tell me, when you have launched your browser, at that time you have only one browser, one tab, yes or no? So by default your focus will be on that, yes or no?
First one. Yes.
So it will, this function driver dot get window actually return the ID of the first original window, and you will store in a variable that is called, you can say, main window ID. Is it okay?
Yes.
So in this way, you have got the ID of the main window. It is, your problem is solved that you got the ID of one window. Why I'm saying that you should write this code here? Because when you click on FAQ, at that time, two window will be open. Maybe it will little bit confusing. Okay, I understand that in that case also, if you will try to write this code after line number FAQ, still it will return the ID of the first window. Reason is that I told you driver dot get window handle return the ID of the current focused window, and currently where is the focus? On the first window.
First window.
So it will return. Now I will do one thing. I will click on FAQ link, and after that what I can expect? Two window will be there. One is the main window and one is the new window. So you will see in that case we have another function that is called driver dot get window handles. Driver dot get window handles. And what is the return type of get window handles? Set. Set of string. Set of string. It is returning a collection of type set, and the set is string. So I will do one thing. I will store it in a collection like set. And what is set? Set of string. So I will write something like this, and I will give a reference variable here. All windows, all open windows. Can I say this variable name is more meaningful?
Yes.
So what it will return? Again, just see what will it return. The get window handles function actually returns the ID of all open window. It doesn't matter the control, the focus in on which window, on or in which tab. It returns all the IDs. So now tell me, if I will call this function, how many IDs it will return? 2. Yes or no? The ID
Yes.
of the first window as well ID of the second. Getting my point? Now the thing is that I have to write a logic that so that I can extract the second ID of the second window from this all window ID collection.
Yes.
Okay, so now you have to write a logic. You have to write a logic, and it is very, very simple. I will give an example. Suppose at runtime, I'm giving the example, don't take it strict. That suppose whenever you was running the program, your ID, which was the ID written by the main window, that was X. That was X. So when you call this function at line number 24, 2 IDs will be returned. Suppose it is returning 2 ID. One is Y. Can anybody tell me what will be the second ID?
X.
Very good. Clapping for you. Excellent. Because we know that I'm giving the example that it will return the ID of all windows. If I'm saying that one ID is Y, definitely one ID will be the same. That is the first window ID because it contains 2 IDs. Yes or no?
Yes.
So now the question is that, can you write a logic that here I'm giving the example that Y is the actual ID of new window, but can you write a general code so that I can at runtime, I can get the ID of new window using these 2 reference variables? Can it be write a logic?
Then again, we need to start with the loop for.
Yes. We have to do very, very good thing. We have to use a loop, and in loop we will do one thing. One by one it will iterate all the IDs. I will compare the ID which is not equal to the main window ID. That will be the second window ID. Yes or no?
Yes.
So I'm writing a loop. I'm expecting that everybody will speak. Shruti, Ranjita, you are not getting?
Getting, sir.
Okay, so in the for each loop, we are going to write a syntax. Right side, we write the code of the all collection, and left side, what is the syntax? We write a variable which can store every element in every iteration. So because every, you can say this is a set of a string, so it will return every time a string. So I will giving a name current window, current ID or current window ID, you can say. Let me write current ID. That will be more good. So now what will happen when this loop will run? It will return two IDs. Whatever ID store in this all window open, it will return X and Y. Yes or no?
Yes.
So you will see, if you want to see the code, let me write the code also. I will show you SOP also so that you can understand. It is very, very important topic. So I'm going to cover only this topic today, but you have to very focus on that. Let me run it and you will see what it is printing in the, it will fail, don't worry. But what it is printing in the, you can say, just tell me. Are you able to see it is printing two IDs? Yes or no? The ID of the
No.
windows are written in this format.
Yes, sir.
CD window AF,
Yes, yes.
something like that. So you are able
Yes.
to see it is returning two IDs. Yes or no?
Yes,
sir.
yes.
And if you want to see this thing, that whatever pile give the answer, that one ID will be same. I can show you how. Let me do one thing. Same code I'm just writing after the here. And here I'm printing just one thing, main window ID. I'm printing. You will see one ID will be same. You can see that's why I'm giving output here. Here I'm printing main window ID, and let me print here all window ID after this one. And you will see it will return one common ID because Payal said the right thing. Sir, here you are getting all the IDs. So definitely one ID will be the ID of the first window. So I am going to write here all window IDs and just tell me, are you able to see the common one or not? Then I will show you that how you can write an easy logic for that. Okay, now go here and check. Tell me, main window ID CD4B99, yes or no? And this is the all window ID. One ID is same, yes or no?
Yes, yes.
You can see here, one ID is different. So now I have to do one thing. How I can get the ID of the new window? Simple. In this loop, I will write, because I'm getting the current ID. In the current ID, I'm getting all the IDs. So I will write a simple code. If, just here, if current ID, simple C, current ID dot, we have a function equals. We have a function equals, and I will pass main window ID. So it will check that current ID is equal to the main window ID. But we have to check current ID not equal to main ID. So in that case, how you can write, there is no function not equals. But how we perform this thing in Java, just write current dot equals, and before that write XK military sentence. And this exclamation symbol is used for not. So now what you will call it? Current window is not equal to window ID. Now tell me, if current ID is not equal to the main window ID, it means currently it is showing the second window ID. Yes or no?
Yes.
So I will do one thing. Let me create this reference variable above it so that your life will be easy. And what I will do, it means in the second window ID reference variable, I can store the ID of this one because currently it is showing the second window ID. Yes or no? Are you getting my point? What I've written? Current ID is not equal to main window ID. It means current ID holding the ID of the second window that I stored in my second window ID variable. Is it okay? Yes or no? Shruti?
Yes.
If you are not getting, don't worry, you can ask me again. Here I'm making a loop of all the window ID. That is okay. It is creating a loop. Yes or no? In this loop, what will be the value of current ID? How many times this loop will run? First of all, tell me how many times? How many times? Ranjita, how many times it will run? Tell me.
2 times.
Yes, it will run 2 times because we have 2 IDs. Now, when it will run 2 times, first time run, current ID will hold the first ID. When second time will run, current ID will hold the second ID. So I am comparing in the if condition that if current ID, which is holding, that is not equal to the main ID, it means the current ID, which is holding the value of current ID, that is the ID of second window. So in my second window ID variable, I have assigned it. So now the thing is that after this loop, what will be the value of current window, second window ID? The ID of the actual second window. And this code is already written this. So let me run it and see it is working or not. And see, this time it is entering the data on the second field order. It is entering the data.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So now you can tell me that you are getting this code or not. If you are not able to get, you can tell me. I will tell you several times. But the thing is that this is very, very important. And when you understand, then only I will proceed to the complex, few more complex scenarios. Tell me who is not getting this point.
Sir, can you please repeat once again?
Yeah. So one by one, you will do one thing. I will try to run with you. Is it okay? You will tell me and when I will. So
Okay,
you will get. Okay. So this line is clear that it is opening the browser. Okay. And after this, your driver will point to the Chrome browser. And what is happening? Because when it will open the Chrome browser, driver reference variable point to that browser. Is it okay? So
Yes, sir.
whatever operation you will perform on the driver variable, it will work on the same browser. Like driver.get, it will enter the URL on which browser? Which is open.
Chrome browser.
Yes. Now when I am writing driver.get window handle, I told you what is the purpose of this function? To return the ID of the current focus window, not current opened window. Window can be multiple, window can be open. It actually return the ID of the current focus window, where the control, where the focus is available, where the Selenium focus is available. So now currently the focus is on the main window ID. So it will return the ID of the first window, or you can say main window. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now after that, you have clicked the FAQ link. When you click on the FAQ link, I have taken a second window ID variable so that I can store it. But how I can get the ID of second window? For that purpose, first of all, we have to call a function driver.getWindow handle. And what it will return? It will return the IDs of all windows. Because now FAQ click, after FAQ click, how many windows are open? Two.
Two windows.
One is main window and second is the question window. Now that you have two IDs and both the IDs are actually stored in all open window ID variable. Now I have asked this thing that out of these all IDs currently, which is two, out of these two IDs, I want to get the ID of the new window. So how I can get it? I can do one thing. I can make a loop on this all window set. Yes or no?
Yes,
I
sir.
can make a loop on this all window set. This is called for each loop. Is it okay? You are getting any doubt here?
No, sir.
Okay, so you will make a loop of all open window IDs. So one by one, it will iterate. It will run the loop, and every run, it will store the value of every ID in the current ID. So now I have written simple written a code. If current ID is not equal to main ID, if means what it will do? First of all, it will compare. Suppose take the example. First ID is X and second ID is Y. So now tell me one thing. When the loop will run, current ID hold the value X. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
It will compare current ID is X and main ID is X. It is equal, match? Yes, matched.
Yes.
But the condition is it should
Not
not match.
equal.
So now the loop will go to the second part. Current ID value will be Y. Now it will compare. Y is equal to the main window ID X. It is compare equal? No.
It's true.
So the control will go to the body of the if block. And what I will do? Actually, current ID hold the value Y. So I store the Y value in the second window ID variable. So now the second window ID variable actually contains the value of the new window. That is actually Y. And in the function, I have passed the ID of the second window. That's why it is working fine. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So in this way, you can divide. Now anybody want to ask any complex question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a scenario. Tell me one thing. Anybody have any question?
Pradeep, I have not question, just I want to clarify. अगर मान लो अभी दो विंडो थे, तो अगर मान लो तीन विंडो होते हैं, तो then again we need to store the value of second window. Then in the loop we'll check whether it is not equal to that, right?
Right. Right.
Okay.
So whatever you are asking, let me explain that thing also. What happens that currently I have given a scenario where one link is open. Okay. Maybe suppose take the example in your same automation. After FAQ link, you have click on one more link. So in that
Yes.
case, 3 window will be there, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
now the question is that how you are going to handle it. So in that case, actually you have to follow a proper sequence. You have to follow the logical order. And what is that logical order? The logical order is that always try to make your practice. Open the browser. First of all, without doing any activity, just after entering the URL, you can call this function to store the ID of the main window. That is okay?
Yes.
Without any. Now the thing is that, again, you have to follow the thing that when you are clicking on the FAQ link, means you are clicking on the first link on your page, then you have to write a logic so that you can extract the ID of the second window from this get window handles and store in a second window ID. Yes
Okay.
or no?
Yes. Yes.
So now just think about that. Suppose take the example after this code. I'm not writing the proper code, but I'm giving a scenario. Suppose I click on new link. New link.
Yes.
Is it okay? So
Yes.
when I click on new link, it will open a new tab.
Tab.
So here I'm saying click on new link and suppose it open new tab. So what we'll do, again, my scenario is very, very simple. We know that 3 windows are open. So how we can get the IDs of all the window? We have again called this function driver.getWindow handles. Yes or no? I will
Yes.
call this function getWindowHandles, but this time it will return how many IDs? Tell me,
Three.
because three IDs. And we know that first ID will be make sure that will the, I can take the example main window ID that you can
Yes.
say X. Second window I will definitely
Y.
that will be Y because I have stored in the second window ID
Yes.
variable. I know it. And third one can be anything. I can assume it will be Z.
Right.
So now again the same thing. You have called this function, just try to store in a same set of reference variable that is set. And this time you can give the reference variables little bit different. Here you can say all open windows. You have to make some different. It my suggestion, all window after second click. Is it okay? You have to make some different variable. So how you want to make a difference, it totally depends on you. Is it okay?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now you have to write the same logic for each loop. Very good. For each loop for, and you will write here same string variable you have to take here, and you can take a local variable curr current ID colon name of the collection. Same thing you have to do. Same condition will be there. And before that, again, you have to do the same trick. Before extracting the third window ID, why don't you create a variable for that? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Third
Window
window
ID.
I will, what is the benefit? Because I'm creating a already reference variable. So in the future, suppose take the example, if I have not stored the ID in the second window, I cannot go to the third window. Any place I have to store it. Yes or no? So I have make my habit that if I'm getting the ID, I will take a variable story. Now we'll see. Here I will write a condition. Now this time the condition will be different, little bit different.
Yes.
If current ID is not equal to main window ID and
Second window ID.
yes. Now you have made two conditions. If current ID is not equal to main window ID and current ID is not equal to second window ID. So the left one will be the third window ID. So you will write third window ID equal to the current window
ID.
So in my loop, the ID, which is current ID, which is actually not matching with the first window and the second window, definitely it will be the third window. And we are going to store in the third window ID. Now you got the ID of 3 windows. You are free to switch anytime, anywhere. Getting my point?
Yes.
Now, sometime one more question comes into the mind. Suppose you are working on the third window and you have already written a code to switch on it. Now you want to work on the first window. So again, you don't need to write a code to extract the ID. IDs are still there, but you have to write only one code. What is that? Driver.switch to window. And you can simply write, because you have third ID, you want to go to the third ID, second window, or you want to go to the main window ID. Simple, right?
Main window. Yes.
Getting my point?
Yes.
So actually you have to write a logic to extract the IDs from the collection. Because when you extract the ID, your switching function is very simple. Driver.switch to ID.
Window. Yes.
Getting my point?
Yes.
So only you have to focus. And in this way, you can go to the third link, fourth link. Only the thing is that because it is very tough to find all the IDs when you have a collection of multiple. So I'm trying to do one link, second ID open. I will try to get the second ID from the two IDs. Then from the three IDs, I can get the third ID. So in way I can proceed. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
So this is one way to switch on the, you can say, window. There is other way to switch on the window. And what is that? Let me show you that thing also. Let me write a new function for that. So that new class for that. So window handling, or you can say window switching. That is same thing by title. So the question can be asked in the two way. Okay, I will tell you what is the second way. Okay, and you should know both the ways. That's why I'm telling you. So let me write the same common code here. I will open this one. Let me open this one. Okay, so I've written this code. So what it will do? Oh, I forget to copy the main function. Let me copy this whole one. Now tell me one thing. This code is easy. You have opened a browser, you enter the header.html. Yes or no? Is it okay?
Yes, yes.
Now you will see in the driver, there is a very, very beautiful function, driver.getTitle. I think I told you about this function. What it returns? It returns the title of the window. Now take the example. What do you mean by title? You will see when I will open an Amazon application. When I will open an Amazon application. So you will see at the Amazon. You will see when I'm opening this application, are you able to see some title? Online shopping site in India, this one. This is called its title. This is called its title. And you will see 99.9% whenever you will click on any page or any link, it is opening in the same tab or it is opening in a new tab. Every time you will see a title there. You want to see? I'm clicking on today's deal. Are you able to see the title is changed? Amazon today's deal.
Yes.
So now you will see I'm running this code and you will see when I'm running this code, it will actually return the ID title of header also. You want to see? Just see here. String. I'm storing driver.getTitle string main window title. Here I'm not getting the ID of the main window. I'm getting main window title. Is it okay? And now I'm going to print it here. I'm telling you one by one so that you can see. Here I will show you that with the help of driver.getTitle. Now again, the thing is that again you have to add one particular word in the definition of getTitle. Driver.getTitle returns the ID of the current focused, only the focused. If the focus will be on a new tab, it will return the title of new tab. Getting my point? Why it returned the by default the ID of the first window? Because by default control is always available on the first window. Are you getting my point? This focused word is very, very important because you have seen I have used the focus logic. I have used the logic to get the focused ID on my previous example. Now you'll see, are you returning the ID page header? This was the ID of my page. Yes or no, this one?
Yes, yes.
Now you will see, we know that manually when we will try to test this scenario that I've clicked the page header, click on FAQ. I found that, oh, it is opening a new tab, but the title of the new tab, I already know that is Pradeep FAQ. Yes or no?
Yes.
So we can use this information also to switch to the new tab. In that case, we don't need to find the ID of new tab. Previous scenario, I told you when you are not fixed that at runtime, maybe the title of the, you can say tab can be changed. So in that case, you have written a logical way. You are not based on any feature of that title. That title will be this. So you have written a common logic. But when you are make sure that you know the title and that will be static every time. So you can use another way. And what is that? Let me show you. In that case, you will see, you will write a code. You get the main window title. Now you do one thing, write the direct code, this one, to click on the FAQ link. Don't think about it. You don't need to store any ID. Simply go to here. Are you getting my point? Getting my point? You have clicked on it. Here I tell you this thing to get the title, but still you don't need this code also. So what you will do in my case, because you know the title, you will do one thing. Open the header, click on the FAQ link. Yes or no? So how many windows are open? 2. Yes or no?
Yes.
So now you have to do one thing, only call this function, only call this function. And you will do what I'm trying to do. Let me do it. So what it will do, it will run the ID of both the windows, main window and second window. Yes or no?
Yes.
So now you will do one thing. You have to make a loop, same loop on this collection. I'm going to do same thing, but this time the condition will be little bit changed. Just see what is the difference. It will run the ID of all windows. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
So now you will see one thing. You now tell me one thing. If it written the ID of every 2 window in my case. So you can do one thing without checking anything. First of all, write the code. In the loop, you have to write the code. Driver.switch to window. So now tell me if I will write here code and will pass the current ID. So in this loop, what will happen? It will try to switch the control on both the IDs one by one. Yes or no? Are you getting my point? If I'm writing this code in loop, what will happen? In the loop, first time it will take the control to the first ID, driver.switch to current ID. Maybe it is first ID. Then it will go to the driver.switch to window.second ID.
Yes.
So it will take the control on the both the window one by one. Yes or no?
Yes.
So we have to decide what is the my desired window on which on that switching we have to break. We have to be on the same window if we got the our current desired window. So you will see what it will do. Let me show you. It will first of all get the current ID X. You have switched your window to the current ID X. Is it okay? Now you have to write a code in the same that if, because currently control can be on the first window or second window. Yes or no?
Yes.
So you have to write a code. Simple say that. What is that? If current ID, oh sorry, not current ID, sorry. If driver dot title, because driver dot get title means current window title. Yes or no? If I will write driver dot get title, so it will get the title of the current focus window. In the loop, it will, if it is the first window, it will return the ID of the first window. If the control will go to the next loop and it will return the ID of the second window. Yes or no?
Yes.
So I will compare driver dot get title dot equals to the first window ID. And what was the first window ID? Oh, sorry. You have to equal driver equal to the ID of the second. And you know that because I don't know, because you know that what is the ID of the title of the second window? Pradeep FAQ. So here the way is that here you are trying to do something different. Let me copy this then. Pradeep FAQ. Pradeep FAQ. So here, because we know the title, so we have do the reverse thing. In the previous example, I was trying to get the ID and then was switching to the particular window. But here I have make a hit and trial. What is that? One by one, I am switching to the IDs and trying to test whether the ID of the current window is equal to my desired title or not. Yes or no? And if it is the ID, we are not going to make the loop forward. Simply write break. And what do you mean by break? Break means it will break the loop. So when it will break the loop, at that time, my control will be on the which window? The title FAQ. Getting my point?
Yes.
And after that, if you are trying to write this code, definitely it will work. Because when it was exiting from the loop, at that time, your control was on the FAQ titled window. Yes or no? So let me run it and see. This time it is also working on it. Working? Yes or no? Say yes or no.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you can see these are two approaches, but the second approach is only applicable when you know the ID of the every new window. And what is the benefit of this one? It doesn't matter when you have the title of all the windows, you don't need to write the code one by one. Why? Because if you know the title of the new window on which you want to take your control, it opens several windows, thousands of windows. And if the titles are unique, in this loop, you will get all the 1,000 ID, but you will match with your desired title. If your title, you got the desired title, which is matched with the current window title, it means currently switched. Currently, the control is on the desired window, and you will make a break, and then you can perform the actions. Yes or no?
Yes.
So in this way, you can actually make the thing. When you don't know the title of the window, then this first, which is more little bit complex, you have to use this. So now you got the point when you have to use the switch by title and when you have to use window handling. Is it okay?
Yes.
So I will do one thing. I will suggest, please try to make multiple combination of these things. You can go to the real examples of the real application, and I can give you the example and you can practice on that. You can practice on my page also, but at the same time, in the Amazon also, there is a scenario. Amazon, you have seen, sometime Amazon opens a new page. Anybody know? When you click on any particular product, right?
Yes.
So let me try sometime. So in that case, you will try to automate the thing. It is clothing. Let me try the clothing. Let me click on this. Okay, now let me click on this one. It is not opening. Sometime let me check. Sometime I've seen that it opens the icon in the new tab. Yeah, you have seen. This time, this was the original tab, and when I click on below one, it opens the article in the new tab. Yes or no? So now you have to find this scenario, whether you are working on this tab and you have clicked something, some link, anything you have clicked on, then you are able to perform in the new tab. Yes, you will not able to perform the task, able to perform the events, or able to perform the actions till the time you are not writing a code on one of these bases. So you have to try on the both the bases. You know that every time you are getting the title, Amazon brand symbol woman. So you can try this one also. And now you can make your little bit complex. I don't know the title of the window. So I will write a logic to extract the ID using that logic, comparing which is not matching with the previous. Is it okay?
Yes.
So I'm binding session for the day, and this is your assignment. I will expect that you will try to complete the assignment today before end of the day. Reason is that tomorrow I will tell you some more topics, some more good topics. And before that, I want to make sure that this part is clear to you, clear to everybody. Fair enough?
Yes.
Sir, what is the assignment, sir? You have to...
Sorry?
What is the assignment?
Assignment is that in the Amazon application, you have to click on, you can choose anything. First of all, you have to launch the Amazon. Then you have to find a proper scenario that where you can click on any product and it is opening a new tab. Okay. So wherever I'm not giving a particular instances, you can see maybe when I click on it, not. You have to find that in which product it is opening on a new tab. So you click on that new tab and perform some actions on that. So you can make sure that you are able to perform or not. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Or you can do one thing. If you want to make, if you are not comfortable first time with the Amazon, you can make the assignment on my page. I will share the header.html. Is it okay? As well as faq.html. Okay. But the thing is that you have to keep both the files on the same location. Getting my point? When you copy these two files, you have to copy in the same location. Okay. So I'm binding the session. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.